Hello my friends! As some of you might already have the personal experience with, Edinburgh weather in January is pretty dreadful. I mean, it's already dreadful in December, but at least we have Christmas, and you know, Edinburgh Christmas is kind of like all in and lights everywhere, and you get to, you know, go on fun rides and drink overpriced mulled wine and everything. Yeah, so that's all gone now, and now we just have depressing, super long nights. It's either super rainy or super windy or super cold, and it's not unlikely that some days it's just a combination of all three all at once. This weekend has been quite bad. And if you live here, you know that sometimes it can be quite challenging to find things to do when you want to leave the house, even though it looks really cozy here by the fireplace, you know, with a cup of tea. Really nice, but you know, I work from home and I really want to leave the house, at least on the weekends. So here are some tips on what we like to do as pseudo-locals here in Edinburgh when weather is crap. Now our first tip is very Central European because, you know, I like to respect my roots. There is one great cafe in the city centre that makes literally the best apple strudel I've had in Britain since I moved to Scotland. Yes, it is at Williams & Johnson Coffee Company, which is placed in the Waverley Mall. That's the little maze of shops kind of around the Waverley station, the main train station in the city centre, really close to Princess Street, basically on Princess Street. So if you're in that area and you need to hide away from rain and cold and wind, all three all at once, go to this cafe and make sure that you try their strudel. They also have some really good looking cinnamon buns, and their filtered coffee is super tasty, and their tables are also drawing friendly. So if you're the sort of person like me who carries around a sketchbook just in case you have to, you know, sit down and sit through a horrible patch of weather for an hour or two, this place has the tables that have all the elbow space. Perfect. So the one thing that you will always hear in videos about this topic is go to the museums. And you know, I was really trying to avoid telling you to go to museums, but it is just a fact of life that Edinburgh has amazing museums and galleries, and most of them are free, so why wouldn't you? Basically, whatever you're into, you will find a museum or a gallery that will cater to your interests. My favorite is the National Museum of Scotland because it's so fun and interactive and beautiful, and I think that whatever you're interested in, you're gonna find at least a bit of that there. I really like the modern part of the museum, which is mostly focused on Scottish history. So you go from like Scottish, like prehistoric times and all of these things they found in the ground, and they were like, I don't know what this is for. Here are some ideas what this might be for. So, you know, bring your friends there and figure it out. There's also a really nice exhibition of animals and cultures around the world and fashion and science. You know, Dolly the clone sheep is there. She's not alive anymore, but she's there. Celebrity sighting. They also have a really cute cafe, and on the museum's 7th floor you're gonna find the amazing viewing terrace. So if you're hiding from shitty weather, but you know, there's been like a little patch of nice weather, you should go to the 7th floor, have a nice view, then hide again. Perfect. I remember that when I was doing the video about culture shock, I mentioned that I like the vibe that pubs here have. You know, they're very cozy, and at least some of them, you know, you just feel like you can kind of like hide away in a nook. You know, they will have like a comfy armchair. You know, it might be a bit sticky and smell of beer, but it's still comfy, and there's dogs and fireplaces, and you know, I feel like the beer in this country, it's usually brewed with the weather in mind. So I find Czech beer very thirst quenching, you know, for those like 35 degrees summers, but the beer here in Scotland is quite comforting and nice, like sweet and not as bubbly. So yeah, alternatively you can also get whiskey. But we're gonna take you to one of our favorite pubs, which is called Regent. It's a gay-friendly pub. It's also dog-friendly. It's just a friendly pub, friendly for everyone. One of the things that we love getting in Regent is their stovies. And stovies is basically this like Scottish comfort food stew that can be made with pretty much anything. Often it's made with like leftovers, sometimes with mince, sometimes with corned beef. The one we get in the Regent is made with roast beef and corned beef and potatoes, and it's served with oatcakes and butter, and it's just, I don't know, it's like a hug. It's delicious. It's great for a rainy, wet day. I think that the worse the weather is, the better the stovies are gonna taste. Our fourth tip is board game cafes. We have, I think, 2 or 3 in the sort of wider city center. I do like a place called Games Hub because they have a really wide selection of games. But for this video, we went to a place called Noughts and Coffees. This was our first time there and we really liked it. They actually have like a menu of games, so you don't have to go and browse yourself, but they also have like a little library, so you know, if you are a very visual person, you can go have a look and, you know, pick from there. You pay $3.50 per person unless you're a kid under 12. I think that, so like if you're traveling with a family and you have kids, they don't have to pay like the gaming fee. Otherwise it's $3.50, which is okay because you can spend a whole afternoon there. So I think that it's a perfect place if the weather really like just if you just give up. If you gave up on doing anything else and you need a fun activity to do with your friends or your family, the board game cafes are there for you to save your butt. We played Labyrinth and Love Letter and had humongous coffee and a really tasty brownie, and I'm really looking forward to coming back actually. Now our last tip is probably my favoriteest of them, and that is having Chinese hot pot. That's just the ultimate food for being in a group of people who are all cold and wet and just fed up with the Edinburgh weather and hungry and want to get something delicious. There's a whole bunch of places in Edinburgh that make a really good hot pot, and this time we went to a place called Liampu, which is kind of close to, I think it's called St. Patrick's Square, so kind of like Northbridge area, close to the meadows, you know, close to the area of Edinburgh University. There's another place that also does a pretty solid hot pot, which is called Yes Sushi, that's in Newtown. Both of them I would recommend making a reservation, and both of them cost about £18 for basically an all-you-can-eat situation. You can get so many types of veggies and noodles and tofu and dumplings and beef, delicious beef, lamb, pork, chicken, fish, crab, the selection is amazing, and I think that it's also very vegetarian friendly. I would definitely ask about what's in the broths, but both of these places have at least 4 to like 7 different types of broth, so you can go really spicy or not spicy at all. They also have a great sort of make your own dipping sauce station. Yeah, I just love it because it's such a great social experience. So I really recommend going with like a group of 3-4 people, because then you really get to try a lot of things and you really get to take advantage of the all-you-can-eat element of this type of dining. Yeah. And honestly, it's just such a unique experience. And even if the weather is nice, you should still go have some nice hot pot. Okay, so now we're done with the day. Hopefully next week the weather's gonna get a bit better, but I'm not gonna keep my hopes too high. At least now I've reminded myself of all the cool things that can be done in Edinburgh when the weather's letting me down. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what's your activity of choice when the weather outside is just giving up on you. I'd love to know if either you found something super unique to do on a day like that in Edinburgh, or if you have something really cool to do on a rainy day in your own city. Just, you know, let me know and we can have a fun talk down in the comment section. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna go now and hope that this winter is not gonna last much longer, even though sometimes they tend to last until like April. So, you know, let's keep our fingers crossed that this year, that 2020 is going to be the year when Edinburgh gets a short and painless winter. Here's hope, you know, optimism. Okay guys, I'm gonna see you soon and hope you have a wonderful time even if it's super rainy.